Struggling between these two quotes. There's a quote that says, "If you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life." And there's also a quote from a comedian's father, Jimmy Yang, which says, "Everyone does what they hate for the money, and then use the money to do what they love." While both quote makes sense, I'm compelled to dig deeper about this on a personal level. Because quite frankly, I don't have my career figured out just yet. Let's talk about the first quote. "If you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life." This quote makes sense because how can it be work when you enjoy what you're doing, right? Whether you be a freelance songwriter, a blogger, a photographer, a content creator, a life coach, etc. But it also raises questions like, what if it becomes so stressful, especially when there's money involved, that you no longer enjoy what you're doing? Will your passion become something you'll eventually hate? I write songs for a living, and while music is my passion, it does come to a point where I just don't have anything to write about, no matter how much I want to do it. And there's also a scenario where I feel like I've written all the love songs, all the bitter, and all the inspirational songs I can think of. And then I end up being burned out because of the pressure of my need to make a living out of it. I'm sure my fellow songwriters can relate that with the exposure and the popularity and reputation that songwriters have, which is not much, begs the question, will we be able to make a living out of it? If I can't write, I can't earn. If I can write, who will buy it? It comes to a point that the thing that I love doing becomes the source of my problem and becomes a concern in a matter of financial security. On the bright side, the stress does help out with the push so I can write faster. And the more I did it, the better I became at it. Plus, it's time efficient since I get to do my job and my passion at the same time. Now, I'm sure it's different for everybody since we all have different circumstances. But bear with me while we move on to the next quote. But before we continue, I would like to thank today's sponsors. I'm kidding. It's just not a sponsored video. All right, let's move on to the next quote.
Everyone does what they hate for money and use the money to do what they love.
This quote is currently very attractive to me because it gives me the idea that I get to do what I love after doing the work that I don't love. In a way, it doesn't ruin my passion for me. I get to write music for fun, stress-free. I won't have to worry whether I earn from it or not. I get to enjoy it, period. I have a cousin named Miles. He's a chef. We had a little conversation about this topic. I remember him saying when he's at work, he needs to have a constant, fast pace in the kitchen, which leaves no room for experimentation, no room for exploration, and you can only do a little, you won't be able to do a little bit of tinkering. Plus, they have a recipe that they need to follow by the book, or by the recipe book. I witnessed this a lot of times, and I'm sure you too have seen people complain about their job all the time. Some of them even say, "Oh, I'm not complaining about my job, I'm complaining about my absurd, attractive, idiotic boss," which technically is still complaining about your job. Now I'm making it sound like this quote is a dumb thing to do, but let me expound further. You clock out at the job you hate and then buy or do something you love as a form of stress reliever, like shopping for new clothes, play bowling with friends, or maybe try out that one dish that you always wanted to try. In a sense, having a job gives you a salary to look forward to, which partially solves the financial security issue, partially. However, by having a job, you wage your time, knowledge, and effort for money. And since you're not in control of your promotion, in a way you're also not in control of how much money you make. And now that we have reached the end of this video, I can conclude that there are pros and cons to both quotes. So with everything that we have discussed so far, I still don't know which is the better method to this matter. But if you found what works for you, congratulations. Feel free to rub it on me, and while you're at it, maybe you can give an advice or two.